custody. Yes. So we will have to we have 7 days to send that material to them, and then you will hear what the sentence is that they think is appropriate. What they will take into account, and then they will make a decision on that.
Which is an indication that they have already agreed that it should be reduced, or they will be convinced by the arguments presented?
I would say they have already agreed it should be reduced, but as to by how much, yes, it should be reduced. Then it will depend on how long each person has been in custody. That seems to be the center of their decision, how long they have been in custody until trial. Right.
Appreciate it, Fortune.
Yes.
Did you have discussion with Mr. Palmer last evening when you got word of the...
No, well, you know, we are on lockdown, COVID lockdown, so there is no way they're going to allow us in the prison. But Mr. Finch and I will communicate with him through the authorities, and then we will take a decision on the matter. We actually have spoken to him already on the issue, so we have an idea where we are going. We were prepared for all eventualities. As you are well aware, we don't sit in the Court of Appeal, so we have to wait on this decision. So we have gotten it today. I believe Mr. Kingston is not here, but we work together, and I believe we'll be going to the Privy Council.
Are you surprised by this?
No, the public pressure is such that there's a lot of negative for Vybz Kartel from certain persons and certain areas of the society. So we expected it. But personally and professionally, I can tell you, my view, I was not in the trial. Remember that. I did not do the trial. It was Mr. Finson. But when I read the transcripts, which were 10 volumes, it was my view that he did not get a fair trial. So we are confident in that, and we will be pursuing that.
Too early now to talk about the points you were arguing for the council.
Well, the entire bundles, we have to prepare all the bundles. We have to go for leave. That's the first thing. There are constitutional issues, because you know fair trial is a constitutional issue. So we will basically be arguing that again.
How do you expect that he will be informed of this decision?
Well, we, as attorneys, myself and Mr. Finson, will have to contact the correctional institution and speak with the officers in charge there, and then we could ask to speak to him by phone, and they could, just as we did a teleconference a while ago, and then we'll inform him. But media being what it is, I'm sure he knows already.
Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
You are so welcome.
If I might ask, QC, there have been concerns about his health.
Yes.
Is there anything that you could say about that in regards to his health condition, and if this is something that you possibly could put forward as if there are actually health concerns?
The only way those health concerns can be used is had retrial been ordered, and then we would have to go back before the court for bail, and certainly that would help us. But we, especially Mr. Finson, follows up his condition, and when he needs to be taken to the hospital, he is taken. It's not that he is being neglected. He can't be treated in the institution, so you will know from time to time he's taken to an appropriate facility to receive whatever attention is needed.
Okay.
Any more questions?
But people just want to understand what exactly this means now for him, because they don't fully understand what that means. What is next?
Well, it basically the court has said that they are not allowing the appeal. It's a legal term, but basically it means he stays convicted of the offense of murder until any other court says otherwise. So that is why we would go to the Privy Council. As you know, the Privy Council is the highest court that we can appeal to. And it's more or less the same process that we do here. Much more paperwork. And we will have to retain counsel in England, in the UK, Queen's Counsel. We have persons on standby. We have prepared for all of this.
Okay, so if they have denied the appeal, what do you need the extra 7 days for then?
Okay, they have given us 7 days to submit some papers. They give us a reasonable time because they know that there's a COVID shutdown right now and state of emergency. So they have given us sufficient time to get the matters before them. It's basically not anything great. And then we will hear from them again as to the sentence for each person separately.
So it is possible that the Court of Appeal will reduce the sentence?
Oh, that's a possibility. I think that is a real possibility.
But where it relates to getting him off completely, you'll have to go to the Privy Council.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
But it means to me, ladies and gentlemen, that the trial, it looks small to you, but to us as legal persons, the fact that they are looking at reducing it is something that inures to our benefit. So we will pursue that.
Any
the usual vigor.
Right. But any ideas though? Vybz seem to have been in positive about the possible outcome. Any particular reason why he would have?
Yeah,
I mean,
positive.
outside. I mean, he seemed almost certain.
Yes. Well, listen. It's like everything in life. You face a situation which can have dire effect, and you remain positive because positivity is what carries you through. As I tweeted yesterday, you remain positive because the other options are just not what you...
Not options.
Yeah, they are not options. But frankly, I believe he was emboldened by the level of the representation and the grounds of appeal because we gave him copies and we still are of the view that they are good grounds.
Yes.
But we don't make those decisions. That's why we are lawyers. We argue until we get what we are satisfied with and or when we can't argue anymore.
With COVID running rampant, do you have any ideas to say when that process with the Privy Council would even be able to begin?
That's a very, very, very important question. But we have to go to the Court of Appeal here for leave. We just don't go up there, we have to go for leave here. So there's an intermediate stage before we get there. But sometimes it will take a year, thereabout. It's not a quick process.
And that's under regular circumstances?
Yes, under regular circumstances. It's not a quick process. But of course, the UK is under so much stress now, we don't know when the courts will be up.
In a case like this, would you now confirm that it would be best if the Caribbean had their own court so that we wouldn't have to go to the Privy Council?
Oh, why did you ask me that question? I don't believe many people agree with me, and some attorneys certainly don't agree with me. We have had many arguments about this, and it's not because our intellectual level in Jamaica or in the Caribbean is any less than anywhere else. We have brilliant jurists here. And I have read a lot of judgments from the Caribbean Court of Appeal, and I have been kind of shifting my position towards the Caribbean Court of Appeal. Court of Justice. But right now I still am in the arena of matters, criminal matters, going before the Privy Council. We have had experiences there. We have been fully listened to, and one of the most important things is that there has been no bias. The Privy Council, they don't know who Vybz Kartel is. They don't know who Valrenita Roberts is. And frankly, they don't care either. So, to me, our arguments are devoid of any bias.
So you believe you'll get a fair trial at the Privy Council?
I believe we will be listened to. I believe the grounds are substantial. And I believe, most of all, that no justice system can survive if we don't have fair trial. And that is where this team puts their emphasis. I was alarmed at how this trial proceeded, and I believe all accused persons must get a fair trial. If a jury, having heard all the evidence, and it's been properly put before the jury, and they take a decision, that's where it rests. But I am not satisfied, and that's my professional view and my personal view.
I think I exhausted my question, but let's give me one more.
Yes.
I see you keep making reference to an unfair trial.
Mm-hmm.
Just explain for our listeners and our viewers one or two of the areas that you thought were particularly bad in terms of the unfair trial.
Okay, luckily I refreshed my mind, my memory last night. There was a lot of text messages taken from phones, and one of the things that the prosecution's evidence revealed, this is not defense witnesses, is that the phone from which these text messages were taken was placed in a locker by the police officer who received it, and that the key for that locker was placed on top of the locker, and that persons would have access to the phone. In addition to that, I believe that there were several days, there was material on the phone. On the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, maybe the 13th and the 14th, which indicated that the phone had been used. That is, somebody was handling the phone. Now, in those circumstances, you can delete, you can change context of messages, texts, you can add. So in our view, the phone was compromised because you can manipulate that, and we didn't feel that that should have been left to the jury, and the jury should have been made to rely on it. Yes, that is just one of the areas that I believe was important. Also, there was cell site records that indicated that when the witness said he was in a particular case, the cell site information showed he was overimportant. In addition to that, at the time that it is said that this thing occurred, the hospital records show that Mr. Palmer was not in Havenley. So, those are just a few I can remember, but there's a lot of material, including pre-trial publication, negative publications. I think you, the media, might remember that there was some burning down of some digital wires or material, and it was being said that, by the authorities who should have known better, that it was linked to the case while the case was going on. Those are things that create prejudice and bias, and we believe that
and credit done out. So there you have it. The appeal was denied, and they have to take it to the Privy Council now in England, which could be delayed because of COVID-19. So Cartel will be inside for maybe another couple years. I'm a kiddie. Say yo kiddie.